Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 2nd of March and let's start the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper along with the articles, its background and way forward. And before starting, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. The link for Telegram channel has been given in description box in YouTube. Now, let's start and first of all, let's see the overview of this entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So the first article here, GST collections cross 1.49 lakh crore, cess inflows hit a record. Okay, so guys, here month to month comparison of GST collections have been given and GST collections are now quite good, which reflects that resurgence of Indian economy. But you are not required to track every month's GST collections. You are not required to note it down. Okay, then further moving on, India asks G20 to extradite economic offenders fast. So guys, what do we understand by the extradition? What do we mean to extradite? So many number of times there is a person who had committed a crime, let's say in India, and that person runs to some another country. Now, if we want to bring that particular person back from that country to India, we need to have an extradition treaty with that particular country. If we don't have an extradition treaty, then we can't bring back that particular person to India for the trials. Okay, so there are, now you might have seen many of the cases have happened in past few years where the people have committed economic scams of they have done these kind of scandals and then they run to some other country, so they need to be brought back for fair trial. You have the example of Vijay Mallya, okay, and many such Nirav Modi and many such examples we have. So India has asked that extradition should happen fast. Now this is the proposal that has been kept here. Then further moving on guys in this particular direction, after that we have these advertisements, not important. Coming to the regional section, Kejriwal picks Atishi Saurabh Bharadwaj for Delhi cabinet. BJP Congress, now nothing is important here, so please ignore these. Then we have these tenders, advertisements, etc. So we will directly be moving. Okay, again the political articles are there, much important things are not there. So coming to editorial page, the first article, politics and ideology within the portals of judiciary. We'll see this article with respect to the examination. Then message for maturity. So yesterday also we have seen this thing in the overview section where what has happened, Supreme Court has asked that governor and chief ministers, they should behave with the political maturity. Every day there are the spats between the office of governor and the office of chief minister. It doesn't looks good. This has happened few days back in Tamil Nadu. This has happened now in Punjab. Okay, so such kind of a thing should not be there. Then further moving on, phasing out the line math is not for girls. So representation of girls in the STEM is being talked about here. We'll see this article. Health system should be responsive to challenges from heat waves. Now guys, if you are following analysis regularly, just a few days back we have seen this thing that Indian Meteorological Department IMD has given the warnings that the heat waves will be intense this particular year. Okay, we have seen that phenomena also, that why the heat waves generate and all such thing. A very beautiful article just a couple of days back we have seen. Now this article is talking about that the health systems need to be more responsive because more heat waves means many people will be exposed to those heat waves. Okay, then further moving on, after that next page, G20 India's platform from global leadership. We'll see this article also. The AIMIM expansion in question. Okay, so the AIMM's expansion in Telangana. Now this is a political article, no need to go too much in detail here. Then India not on target, India not on target in many women related developmental goals. So basically guys, here it has been provided that when we talk about the uh, basically the India has an obligation that India needs to tame certain of the issues, for example anemia in non-pregnant women, access to basic services. These things are to be provided. Okay, now basically here a kind of an estimate is being given that on what targets India is achieving and what not. Okay, so this is a very long list that has been given, so you can just see it. Then further moving on, text and context page, understanding the Windsor framework agreement. So the Northern Ireland protocol is there in the news. So briefly we will see, we'll understand that what is this Northern Ireland protocol, what is this Windsor agreement that has been signed. Then combining social welfare and capital markets through SSE, we'll see this article. Then coming to what is in the name, what's in a name, the journey from Aurangabad to Sambhaji Nagar. Okay, so guys, this is a bibliography article, and in the bibliography article they take some of the book references and give the premise and all such kind of a things. Now the article doesn't contains much of relevant substance for our UPSC examination that much. Okay, moving on guys, to the next one. All 5 S400 regiments expected to be delivered by early 2024. We'll see this particular article also. Fine. Then further moving on, drone shot down in Punjab. No need to go too much in detail. Okay, so here's one article. Anti-defection law applies even if a faction splits from a party. Supreme Court at Sena hearing. Now, guys, if you remember, yesterday also we have taken one article on the anti-defection law where it was provided by the Supreme Court that if a person has defected from a political party, okay, and after that if the floor test happens, then that particular person cannot vote. This was provided by Supreme Court. If you have not seen, I will advise you to go and watch the yesterday's newspaper analysis where we have discussed it. Now understand this particular thing, that basically what has happened guys, in Maharashtra state's case, in the case of the Maharashtra, there was a faction of Shiv Sena that got defected from the Shiv Sena, and they said that they are the real Shiv Sena and they have supported the BJP. Because of that, the government got toppled in Maharashtra. Now the MLAs who defected from the erstwhile Shiv Sena, now it is being said that they should be charged under defection and they should be disqualified. So this disqualification issue case is going on in Supreme Court. Now every day there are some of the statements, some of the norms that are being laid by the Supreme Court. Now you understand this thing, you are not required to go and follow the everyday development in this particular case. For example, here anti-defection law applies even if a faction splits from a party. Supreme Court at Sena hearing. So this is a hearing that is going on. So here it has been provided that even if a faction, even if a group defects, fine, then also the disqualification will apply. Okay, now understand this thing guys. We will trace this entire development when the final judgment will be given by Supreme Court. Till then, these hearings, counter hearings, arguments, counter arguments, you are not really required to go and track every day. Okay, so please don't waste a lot of time in that. Then Adani, Congress, all these issues are going on. New Delhi makes renewed push for consensus at G20 meeting. Okay, so guys, we have seen this article multiple number of times earlier also, that now as India is hosting the G20 meeting, there is a lot of problems going on. The biggest problem that is there is that within G20, there is G7 also included. Within G7, there are the Western countries largely, and there is also Russia, China, that are also there in the G20. Now they are having the ideological differences, and because of the Russia-Ukraine war, there is a kind of a lot of differences between the West and US and the Russia on another hand. So whether they will be coming together and will they be issuing the joint statement, whether consensus can be built between the entire G20 when so much divisions are there. Okay, so last year when Indonesia summit of G20 happened, at that point of a time also these problems were observed. Now India is hosting, okay, now India is hosting the foreign ministers meet. Okay, just a minute. Now India is hosting the foreign ministers meet. India is hosting them for the Raisina dialogue. So India has make a push to all the countries that we should have a kind of a consensus statement we should be arriving upon. Okay, this is the issue that is going on. India, Russia are consistent opponents of illegitimate unilateral sanctions. Lavrov. Okay, so basically guys, Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov fine has visited India, and now this particular statement has been oriented towards the West. Fine. For example, USA. USA has imposed a lot of sanctions on Russia. Russia says that these sanctions are illegitimate, these sanctions are wrong, and here Russia has also taken the India's reference that India and Russia both are consistent opponents. They oppose the illegitimate unilateral sanction. Now, this is a statement, this is hinted towards the US. Now, understand one particular thing, guys, very, very carefully, that you are not really required to go and to track all these things or to add it in your notes, because these statements, these kind of commentaries are, it's quite usual. Then further moving on, UK minister flags BBC tax surveys. Okay, so recently the BBC's offices were raided. Fine. Then here we see this thing, Press Council of India warns against publication of paid news. So with respect to the media ethics, we'll take this article. Then two Australian public universities to establish campuses in Gift City. Now we'll see this particular article. Even yesterday we have taken this article. Then scheduled tribes parallel requisition FRA action reports from top court. We'll see that what is this entire issue is with respect to the tribal issues. Okay. Then BJP had highest income in 21-22. Trinamool's saw biggest jump ADR report. So ADR stands for Association of ADR stands for the Association of Democratic Reforms, and ADR releases its reports from time to time, talking about the political funding patterns, talking about the criminal backgrounds of the candidates, MPs, MLAs, all these kind of things. Now there ADR has released its report and had provided that these are the parties, and this is the total declared income and total declared expenses. For example, BJP's income was 1917 crore and expenses were 854 crore. You are not required to track that which party got which how much income. Fine, no need to go and remember these particular datas by heart, but when datas with respect to the criminalization etc are given, that we can use to quote in our answers. Fine. Then moving on, lab accident most likely caused a pandemic, FBI chief. So this is a new flashpoint, new confrontations between the USA and China that has emerged. Few days back, there was a balloon of China that entered into the USA's airspace. They shot it down. That was the confrontation. Now what has happened? USA is saying that the COVID-19 virus was a leak from a lab in China. It was a leak from a China's lab, and China is saying that it is propaganda. Fine. So this is something that is going on. Fine. Head-on collision between trains kills 36 in Greece. Sri Lanka's worker unions go on a strike. Then these tenders we have. February PMI. Okay. Signals a steady expansion in manufacturing. Okay. So PMI stands for Purchasing Managers Index, or PMI. Now say in the PMI basically the PMI, it is talking about that the manufacturing sector will be steady, and it literally little bit it shows that the impacts of the pandemic are going down. Okay. Now then automakers strong sales. Fine. Petrol diesel sales surged. Fine. These are, guys, the evolutionary trends. Fine. Not very much important. In economy section, guys, corporate news related to the rise and fall of the stock market. Okay. And month to month datas, fine, are not that much important. The issues which have an impact on Indian economy, those academic issues are something that are important for our exam, and we need to go there. Then we have this sports page. Okay. So this is the overview of this entire newspaper today, so that you get a glimpse and you are able to understand that what we need to see, what we not need to see. Now let's discuss the relevant articles which can be important for our examination one by one in the detail. And guys, if it's my request that if you are liking the video, please do hit the like button, and please do help our channel to grow and to reach more needy people. Now starting up, so in every class we start with a GS quote, and this particular quotation can be used to complement our answers in GS 1, 2, 3, 4 or in essay. So today we'll take the quotation from Woodrow Wilson. So Woodrow Wilson says, there is no higher religion than human service. To work for the common good is the greatest creed. Okay. No service is higher than the service to humanity. Even in Indian traditions, we have the idea such as that the service to man is the service to God. So the Swami Vivekanand, Shri Krishna Paramhans have been very big supporters of such kind of an ideology. So serving the human, it is the biggest religion. Anything that helps the human is the biggest service. We can use this particular quotation in GS4 ethics, in GS paper number 4 ethics. Okay, even the pursuit of ethics is human welfare and human well-being. Okay, now taking up first article. Okay, so first article, guys, that we are going to take is from text and the context section, and the article reads, combining social welfare and capital markets through SSE. So this article will see with respect to prelims examination, because in prelims such kind of conceptual things can be asked, and with respect to GS paper number 3, okay, stock market activities, initiatives at the stock market, so we will take this article. Now before going in this particular article, guys, let me tell you that why this article has come in the news, what is the context. So recently what has happened, National Stock Exchange. So stock exchange, it is a formal place where the buying and selling of the shares of the public trading companies happen. Okay, so we have National Stock Exchange, we have Bombay Stock Exchange. So this article talks about the National Stock Exchange. So National Stock Exchange had received the permission, it has received the approval from SEBI, Securities Exchange Board of India, which is a regulator of stock market in India. The SEBI has allowed to set up the social stock exchange, social stock exchange. Now we are going to understand that what do we mean by this social stock exchange and how it will help, how it will help. Now see, understand guys, that when we talk about the commercial entities, when we talk about the commercial entities, fine, there are certain commercial entities whose only motto, whose only purpose is to make profit, whose only motto is to make profit. And even for making profit, sometimes they will sell certain goods and services, for example selling liquor, selling tobacco, selling cigarettes. Okay, they are doing that particular thing to make the profit. I'm not saying that they are moral or immoral, no. So some corporates or some commercial entities have only profit as a motto. They carry their activities. But at the same time, there are also some other commercial entities for profit enterprises for whom profit is important, but social impact is more important. But for them, the social impact is more important. Is it clear or not? Fine. So we have these enterprises are called as the social enterprises. Okay, these enterprises are called as the social enterprises. So social enterprises are those which are created for creating a social impact, which are created for bringing a social impact. For example, let's say a corporate is there which is manufacturing sanitary pads for the women and is providing those sanitary pads at a very nominal cost to women, though it is making some profit out of that, but motto is the social impact. So that is the social enterprises. Now there can be two types of social enterprises. One is for profit, one is for profit which will make some profit in the part of their activities, and other are non-profit organization which will not make any profit out of their activities. Okay, now both of these for profit organization and not for profit organization, which are the social enterprises, they need money, they need visibility. Okay, so how now they are being provided money, they can be provided visibility. So for this particular thing, now within the National Stock Exchange, there will be a new segment that will be created. Okay, there will be a new separate segment that will be created, and in this particular separate segment, okay, basically social enterprises will be showcased. Okay, and these social enterprises through the National Stock Exchange can now raise funds from the public. They can raise funds from the public. Moreover, this will also help them to gain the visibility. This will also help them to gain the visibility in the eyes of the public. Is it clear or not? Fine. So this within National Stock Exchange, there will be a segment. In this segment, these social enterprises will be showcased. They can raise money, they can acquire visibility, and all such kind of things will be there. Now, who can invest in these social enterprises? Retail investors like me and you, we can invest here. What we can do? We can put some money and we can buy the stocks, we can buy the shares of these enterprises. So retail investors can invest, and institutional investors, big institutional investors, they can also invest. But understand one particular thing, retail investors, they can only invest in the securities which are offered by the for-profit social enterprises. So if you remember, I have told you there can be for-profit and not for-profit. So only in the organizations which are making profit, retail investors can invest the money, but institutional investors, they can invest money in both for-profit and not for-profit. Okay, this is something. Now how you will call that an enterprise is a social enterprise or not? Okay, so social enterprises are those enterprises which are working in these particular fields. For example, the enterprises which are working to eradicate hunger, eradicate poverty, malnutrition, inequality, which are promoting education, employability, equality, empowerment of women. Okay, working for the welfare of LGBTQIA communities, working towards environmental sustainability, working to protect the national heritage, art. Okay, so or bridging the digital divide. So all the organizations which are working in this particular direction, they are called as social enterprise. And these social enterprises, the money can be invested by the investors in the National Stock Exchange, where a new segment will be created where these enterprises will be listed. So this is a new initiative that has come. Now, what will not be a social enterprise? That thing also we need to see. Now, these things, guys, can be asked in your prelims examination. So what are not the social enterprises? So corporate foundations, fine, political, religious organizations, fine, or activities, professional or trade associations, for example, teachers association, taxi drivers associations, okay. So these associations, infrastructure, housing company, fine, would not be identified as a social enterprise. However, if a housing company is providing affordable housing, then it can come, but other normal housing corporations, companies will not come here. Now, as these social enterprises are doing their activities, it has been provided by the SEBI that the social enterprise should also submit an annual impact report. Okay, what is an annual impact report? It lists that what activities they have done and what is the outcome of their activities. For example, I run a social enterprise and there I say that I am educating the girl children. I did my activities for 1 year, and after 1 year I have to tell that okay, how many girls actually got educated, what was the enrollment rate earlier, what is the enrollment rate now. All these things are to be provided. Okay, so this is all about this particular initiative. Fine, guys, I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. If you have any doubt, if there is anything, you may ask. Yes, guys, any doubt? And meanwhile, a very good morning to all of you. Bhagyashri, Guru Prasad, Kishan, Neha, Dharm, Unraveled, Step Forward, Yasu, Fazil, Rishi, Ujjal, Sonam, Rashmik, Anand, Kajal, Ankit, Pallavi. Very good morning to all of you. Any doubt, guys? If you have, you may please write it. Okay. Now moving to next article. Understanding the Windsor framework. Understanding the Windsor framework. Now, basically, guys, we need to see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, international awareness, and even in prelims examination, sometimes these kind of questions are asked. For example, recently Windsor framework was in the news. This framework relates to what? This framework relates to Russia-Ukraine war. This framework relates to the export of the wheat and other grains the from developing country to developed country. Any four random options they can give. Now, but understand one more thing I want to tell you very, very carefully. If you analyze the papers that have been there in the past few years, we understand this particular thing, guys, that there are so much hairline information about these things are not asked, neither in prelims nor in mains. See, when we talk about the international events, only those international events are important for our examination, which will impact India, number one. Number two, when we talk about the developments going on in other country, the developments which are happening in India's neighborhood are more important. Otherwise, there are 200 countries, okay? In every country, so much of the developments are going on, you can't track everyone, okay? So every development is not important. How we know? We know this only by analyzing the previous year's papers, okay? Now, so as this Windsor framework we are going to discuss, you need to understand that only those things we need to discuss which can be academically important for our examination. Please don't go and don't do a PhD in this particular matter. Okay, so there will be the 1 hour video only on this Windsor agreement and claiming they are very important for UPSC. No, they are not. Please don't fall in that trap. Okay, now guys, I would like to tell you this entire development from the start. Okay, so basically, guys, here we first of all, if you focus here, a minute. Okay, fine. So here we have Ireland. Okay, here we have Ireland. Actually, this is the Republic of Ireland. This is the Republic of Ireland. Okay, here we have Northern Ireland. Here we have Northern Ireland. So this lined one, Northern Ireland. Okay, now here we have the England. Here we have Wales. Here we have Scotland. Okay, now guys, when we talk about Ireland, okay, and in between we have Irish Sea also. First of all, understand this particular locations. Again we will see it. Here we have the Republic of Ireland, this light blue color. This green color is the Northern Ireland that we have here. Then in between we have Irish Sea. here we have Wales, here we have England, here we have the Scotland. Okay. Now guys, when we talk about the United Kingdom, within United Kingdom we include England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, we include it. Okay. Now understand this particular thing, that see, when we talk about the Ireland, when we talk about Ireland, okay, we have Northern Ireland, and then we have Republic of Ireland. We have Republic of Ireland. Okay. First of all, when we talk about the Northern Ireland, this particular region, Northern Ireland, this particular region, here there have been a lot of political disputes, there have been a lot of political confrontations since 1960s and 1970s. Understand this particular thing, guys, that in Northern Ireland there are, first of all, two political factions that we have. There are the two political factions that we have. Number one are the Unionists, and number two are Republicans. Now, the Unionist people here, they demand that there needs to be more and more integration with the UK. There needs to be more and more integration with the United Kingdom, Greater Britain. Okay. But when we talk about the Republicans, these Republicans want that there needs to be more reintegration with the Republic of Ireland, Okay. This has been the division. Now, because of this particular thing, within the Northern Ireland, there have also been a lot of disputes. There have been a lot of political violence that have been carried. Now, this particular political violence in the Northern Ireland had been there from 1960s to 1998. 1960 to 1998, a lot of violence, and nearly 3,500 people, 3,500 people have died in these violences. Fine, they are being called as the Troubles. Now, what happened in 1998? In 1998, there was the Good Friday Agreement that was signed. And this Good Friday Agreement provided this particular thing, that the Northern Ireland will stay as the part of the United Kingdom, but at the same time there will not be the very hard boundaries between the Northern Ireland and between the Republic of Ireland. So this was a compromise, that this Northern Ireland will be integrated with UK, good. But at the same time, the Northern Ireland and between the Republic of Ireland also there will not be the hard boundaries. So here the Republicans also will be appeased, because they wanted to always get associated with Republic of Ireland, and here the Unionists will also be appeased, because they will also be happy, because the Northern Ireland is a part of the United Kingdom. Okay, that thing happened. Okay, now the things were going very good. Now what happened? The Brexit came. Okay, now you know this particular thing, that the Brexit came. A minute. So the things were going good, and then happened Brexit. Okay, now what is this Brexit? So Brexit is the exit of Britain from European Union. Britain's exit from European Union. Now, as the Britain will exit from European Union, it means that the Northern Ireland being the part of Britain, will also exit from European Union. Okay, fine, not at all a problem. But Ireland, what is the status of Ireland? Okay, now the Ireland has actually decided that they will continue in European Union. The Ireland will continue in European Union. The Northern Ireland, being the intrinsic part of the Britain, they will leave the European Union, because Britain has left the European Union. Okay, I hope that you have understood it. Number one, Northern Ireland, being the part of Britain, left the European Union. Secondly, Republic of Ireland did not left the European Union. This is the status that happened after the Brexit. Okay, chalo, well and good. Now after Brexit, there was one other problem that came. Now what is this particular problem? Problem is this, guys, that when now the Republic of Ireland is the part of the European Union. Okay. Now when the shipments have to come from other European Union country to Ireland, they have to pass from the Northern Ireland. Is it clear or not? How the shipments will come? shipments will come from Britain and from Irish Sea. They will enter the Northern Ireland, and from Northern Ireland those shipments will enter to the Ireland. Is it clear or not? That is the issue. Now the point that comes here, is that, guys, how you will check the goods that are entering the Republic, of Ireland. See, if we put the custom or the boundary here, and if we check the goods here, then it will mean that a hard boundary have been established between the Ireland and between the Northern Ireland. Because of this particular thing, Republicans will get angry. Okay, Republicans will get angry because of this particular thing. Okay, this is something that is going to happen. Okay, and at the same time, where to put this particular boundary to, because understand this particular thing, that the standards of food products, standard of hygiene, phytosanitary standards which pertains to food, they are very much high in European Union. Now understand this particular thing, that every shipment, if it is being checked here, it will indirectly mean a hard boundary. How to resolve this particular issue? So therefore the Northern Ireland Protocol was signed. The Northern Ireland Protocol was signed. Now what was this original Northern Ireland Protocol? So the Northern Ireland Protocol provided this particular thing, that the goods will be checked at the ports in Northern Ireland on arrival. So basically there will be not be the boundary here, rather there will be the customs, rather will be the customs check that will happen here at the port. Okay, and then the goods will pass. Okay, this is something that has been provided. Now guys, basically this Northern Ireland Protocol it had a lot of problems, and now a new plan is being brought. What is this new plan? New plan is this, that once the goods will arrive, okay. Now what was the problem? Let me tell you the problem as well. The problem was this, let's see here. This is the part of UK and this is the part of European Union. If we don't have any boundary here, then there might be a possibility that a lot of smuggled goods from UK might enter the European Union. Now European Union has very high standards. So it is being said that the low standard goods, fine, will enter in European Union. This is going to be a very big issue. So therefore, now what is this? There is a new plan, that is the Windsor Agreement, that has been brought in this particular line. It is being provided that once the goods will enter from the Britain to Northern Ireland, so then there will be two types of routes. There will be the two types of path, that is the green lane and the red lane. Green lane and red lane. Now the goods or the trucks that will go through the green lane, these are the goods which are actually meant for the Northern Ireland. Fine, they are meant for the Northern Islands. They will not be tested, they will not be checked again and again, a lot of paperwork will not be there. And the goods that want to go to Republic of Ireland, this one, then they will move through the red lines, and then there will be the lot of paperwork, checks, etc. that will be taken up. Okay. So this is a Windsor Plan where the red line and the green line are being proposed for the movement of goods from the Northern Ireland to Republic of Ireland. Is it clear or not? So here you can see this particular thing, that Northern Ireland, just a minute. Okay, so Northern Ireland, green lane for UK goods, traders to complete single certificate per truck rather than multiple forms. And then there is this red lane. Okay, so red lane is for the Ireland, that is the Republic of Ireland, European Union destined goods go through red lane with full custom procedure. So this is something that has been provided. Moreover, European Court of Justice will be the final court, will be the final arbiter of matters of European Union law which affects the Northern Ireland. Okay, so these are something things that have come out of this particular direction. Now, one more thing, guys, I want to tell you here again and again is that please don't go too much in the hairline detail of this particular argument, that what will be the tax treatment, how the potatoes will be dealt, how the medicines will be dealt. Why? Because it will not make any sense for our examinations, because such things are neither us nor you will be able to retain such kind of unnecessary information. You need to have a broad idea about that. Okay, so this is all, guys, about it. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to the next article. Yes, guys, please tell me if you have understood it or not. Okay, or if you have any issue, please let me know. Okay, now moving to next article. All 5 S400 regiments expected to be delivered by early 2024, that is next year. Now, Guys, this particular article we'll see with respect to our prelims examination as well as mains examination, GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, India-Russia relations. GS paper number 2, India-Russia relations. Okay. Now, what this article is talking about. So basically, the article is talking about the S-400 India-Russia deals that has been convened. Okay. Now, basically, this S-400 triumph, fine, you can see here into this photograph. So S-400 triumph, it is an anti-aircraft missile weaponry. Okay, what it is? It is an anti-aircraft missile, or you can say that it is an air defense system, and it is very advanced air defense system that is being supplied by Russia to India for the air defense of India. Now this S-400 Triumph system, it is highly sophisticated. It can detect, it can track, and it can destroy the incoming missiles as well as incoming aircrafts which are adversary. And India needs it for our national security. India needs it for our defense, for increasing our defensive capabilities. Fine. Now the deal for S-400 Triumph system, it was signed in 2018, and the delivery of this S-400 was to be done by 2020. But there are delays in this particular execution and completion of this particular deal. So now in total, India has agreed to purchase 5 S-400 systems from Russia, and this deal is approximately $5.43 billion. Okay. Now this particular deal, first of all, is very important for India's defense capabilities, but at the same time, this deal has also been controversial since the past. Why it has been controversial? Because of the CATSA Act. Because of the CATSA Act. So CATSA, it stands for Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanction Act, CATSA Act. This is a law in US. Now USA provides that any country which is USA's adversary, any country which is USA's adversary, if some third country is doing the trade, then USA can impose the sanctions on that third country as well. For example, as per the CATSA Act, who are the India's adversaries? USA's adversary. This is the US law, so USA's adversary. So North Korea, Iran, Russia. These are the USA's adversaries as per the CATSA Act, as per the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. Okay. Now, if any third country, let's say X country, is doing some trade within the North Korea or doing trade with Iran, then USA can impose the sanction on this X country as well. Now, understand that under the CATSA, Russia is included. And now as India is procuring S-400 system from the Russia, there is a fear that the USA might impose a sanction on India as well, because India is procuring S-400 system from Russia. So there are the fear that India can be charged under the CATSA Act. But still, India has went forward with this particular deal and had said that we will procure S-400 Triumph system from Russia, even if there is a fear of the CATSA Act. So this is one controversy that happened here. Then after that, there was another issue that came in this particular direction. What was this particular issue? Okay, there was another issue that came in this particular direction. Now, as I told you that this particular deal is $5.43 billion. Now, how money has to be paid for that? How the money will be paid for that? Okay. Why the problem of paying the money? Because after Russia-Ukraine war started, Russia was shut out of the global SWIFT system for money transfer. Now, what is SWIFT? SWIFT is a secure messaging platform which is used by the financial institutions to transfer the payments. Now, before transferring a payment, let's say a US's bank want to transfer the payment in China. Now, before transferring a payment, authentication is to be done, and that happens through the SWIFT system, which is a secure messaging platform. Now, Russian banks have been banned from the SWIFT. They cannot use it. Secondly, USA has also provided that Russia cannot use the dollar as a medium of transaction with the other countries. So, earlier the deal was this, that we will get the S-400 system and in return we will pay the $5.43 billion, but dollars cannot be used in this transaction now. Even Russia cannot receive that transfer because the Russia has been banned from the SWIFT system. So how to pay money for that particular thing? So in this capacity, India and Russia agreed for using the rupee ruble arrangement. Rupee ruble arrangement. For example, what is this rupee ruble arrangement? Now India imports a lot of things from Russia. Let's say crude oil. India is importing crude oil from Russia. So when the crude oil lands in India, India will pay in rupee. India will pay in rupee. Now that particular rupee, Russia will pay back to India when Russia is importing some goods from India. Okay, that is the rupee ruble arrangement. Okay, in that same way, if now here in the rupee ruble arrangement, Russia is at a disadvantage. How? Russia is at a disadvantage because Russia's exports are more to India. So Russia has got a lot more rupee. Okay, so this is one problem, and they say that now if we get $5.43 billion in rupees, that is going to be an issue. So these are the issues in the S400 system that has been there. Okay, and anyhow the execution of the deal has also been delayed. Now the final verdict that has come here is that finally in early 2024, next year, the S400 will be supplied to India. Okay, this is guys all about this particular article, and now we'll move to next article. Phasing out the line, math is not for a girl. Okay, now this particular article we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to the educations of the girl child. Issues related to the education of the girl child. We'll see this particular issue with respect to the social justice as well. Now, what is this particular article talking about? So guys, the article is talking about the underrepresentation of girls or women in STEM. Underrepresentation of the girls or women in STEM. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Here representation of women or girl has been alarmingly low. And why the representation of girls have been low here? It is largely because of the social stereotypes that we have created in the society. For example, there have been a consistent pattern in every society. We use the phrases like the where like boys, or these things should be done boys, by boys, these things should be done by girls, etc. Okay, now it has been provided that in society we feel that boys are more likely than girls to express a preference for mathematics and science. Boys are more inclined towards that. Okay, and because of that particular thing, representations of female in the STEM has been very much less, have been far from fair or desirable. Now, if we see the patterns of boys choosing mathematics and performing in mathematics in North and South, we see here number one, in the North India, in the North Indian states, boys outperform girls substantially in the mathematics and sciences. Boys are better performer. But in the South India, girls outperform boys in mathematics, though this is the regional variation. But when we see the average India, when we see the average on pan India level, we see that the performance of girls always is worse than the boys, Now what is this? Why this is the reason? It's not because naturally the boys are nudged to be better in mathematics or naturally they are good performer. It is because of the social setups that we have. We promote boys more and more to excel in maths. They are more inclined towards these things, but girls are not done the same. So we see this particular thing, that there is a widespread prevalence of devaluation of girls as in concern to their mathematical aptitude. For example, in classroom, at home, in society. Fine, this is a very often repeated line that science and maths are meant for boys and arts and humanities are meant for girls. So this is a kind of a stereotyping that has been prevalent in society, and this stereotyping, this labeling is put on boys and the girls, and girls internalize this particular thing that they are not meant for sciences and mathematics, and because of that particular thing, they over a period of time they tend to underperform. This is the reason. Now here many states, many central policies, fine, they have recognized this stereotyping in education. Here we see this particular thing, National Education Policy 2020. It has stressed that there need to be gender sensitive training for teachers. Gender sensitive training for teachers. Teachers need to promote this equality, fine, in the girls as well as the boys. Moreover, the National Education Policy 2020 has also talked about creating gender inclusive fund for the states to utilize in implementing the community based interventions. Okay, then further moving on, after that in this particular capacity, the national curriculum framework for early childhood care and education. Now, National Curriculum Framework for Early Childhood Care and Education, it will be a specific curriculum that will be designed to cater the needs of children. Okay, so to cater the needs of the children between the 3 to 8 years. Okay, 3 to 8 years students, for them a special curriculum will be designed, that is the National Curriculum Framework for Early Childhood Care and Education. Now, this particular curriculum will be developed by the NCERT, and here it has been provided that the gender disparities should be acknowledged. Okay, for example, in the documents, fine, often male are shown doing a particular type of work, female are shown doing some other type of work. From there is a kind of a gender insensitivity that enters into the minds of the children. So gender disparities needs to be focused. This is something, but these documents, but neither of these documents explicitly recognizes the cause and consequences of gender differences. Specifically, gender disparities, gender differences in mathematics, STEMs is not being recognized. This is one issue. So what can be way forward? Here is the way forward that is being provided here is that we need to focus on targeted behavioral interventions to curb the gender stereotyping. Okay, at the school level, at the family level, we need to address these kind of stereotypes that math is not for girls, okay, science is for boys. These stereotypes are needed to be countered, and such kind of interventions are needed to be done at the household level, at the societal level, at the school level. References of the female mathematicians, references of the feminist, references of the female mathematicians, female thinkers, female scientists into the books are needed to be shown more and more. Okay, so this is something that needs to be focused upon. Okay, this is all about this particular article, guys. Now moving to the next article. Article says politics and ideology within the portals of the judiciary. Politics and ideology within the portals of the judiciary. Now, what is this particular article talking about? See, uh, this article will see with respect to GS paper number 2 issues related to judiciary. But in this article, a lot of political references, a lot of political undertones have been given. Please avoid, don't go in that particular political line that has been given. Okay, now see this particular thing. Recently, if you are following newspaper analysis regularly, we have seen this particular article multiple number of times. Now, what was the issue? You might be knowing the episode of appointment of Justice Victoria Gauri. Now, Justice Victoria Gauri was earlier an advocate, and she was recommended to be appointed as an additional judge in Madras High Court. After she was recommended for the judge's position at the Madras High Court, the lawyers body, they protested against the appointment of Justice Victoria Gauri. They said that she had made certain hate speeches in the past, okay, and because of that particular thing, she should not be promoted as a judge at Madras High Court. They reached to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court finally, what it did, Supreme Court made a distinction between eligibility and suitability. Supreme Court made a distinction between eligibility and suitability. They said that the eligibility as who can be appointed as a judge, who cannot be appointed as a judge, it is provided in the constitution. But suitability of a person is to be decided by the collegium. And if collegium has recommended the name, we can't go against that. So actually that particular matter got in that direction, and then Justice Victoria Gauri got elevated as a judge. Now, the article is, this is a one reference that has been given. Now, the article is saying that nowadays, Supreme Court has become more of a political court. Okay, it is basically there are a lot of political controversies that are getting created in lot of political disputes. Supreme Court is being pushed. So, Supreme Court has become more of a political court. And it has been said that if when political opinions are going to the court, when politically motivated issues are going to the court, there can be a possibility that sometimes a judgment tilted towards a particular side can be given. It has been provided that when we talk about even the judges, okay, they might have some political or ideological position, they might have some particular type of a political thinking which might influence the judges. It has been provided, but it has been provided that till now till now the Supreme Court has maintained a very good track record, and even when the judges of Supreme Court are being appointed by the government, it's not always the case that the Supreme Court's judges have toed the line of the government. They have kept forward their independent thought, they have kept forward their independent and constitutionally aligned thought. So for this particular thing, some references have been given. Now, first of all, when we talk about the politically charged issues that have reached to Supreme Court, what are they? Let's see them. So basically, the PIL on changing the names of 1000 places, uniform divorce law, anti-conversion law, love jihad, women's entry in mosque. Now these issues became more of a politicized, and these issues have reached to the Supreme Court. Okay, but in past, if we see, the judges, though they might have their own ideology, some judges might have an ideology centered to oriented towards left, oriented towards right, oriented towards the center, but they maintained their independence. And let's take these examples here one by one. Number one, Champakan Dorai Rajan case of 1951, reservation policy of Madras was struck down. Now, this judgment obviously went against the government. The idea here is that when we talk about the collegium's recommendation, Supreme Court collegium recommends the name, and finally those judges are appointed by government, but still judges maintain their independence. In Champakan Dorai Rajan case, the policy of Madras government was struck down. Okay, here in Golaknath case, Supreme Court denied Parliament the power to amend the constitution and held fundamental rights to be primordial rights necessary for the development. So Supreme Court reduced the power of Parliament to amend the fundamental right, okay, to amend the constitution, and said fundamental rights are supreme. Then after that we have the RC Cooper case. Here the court struck down the bank nationalization decision again of the government, so it stayed independent. Then Maharaja Dhiraj Madhav Rao Sindhia case, abolition of private purses that were done by the government, it was struck down. Okay, then after that Keshwaranda Bharti case, here the basic structure doctrine was given, which in a way reduced the power of Parliament to amend the Constitution of India. Here it was said that basic structure cannot be amended. After that, Raj Narayan case, where the judiciary has struck down the Prime Minister's election at that point of a time. Okay, and even during the emergency, okay, the courts upheld the right of habeas corpus. So collegium at the same time, the Supreme Court judges, they have maintained their independence. That is the case. Okay, but those oftentimes they can get influenced also, but it has not happened up till now as per this particular article. So guys, whatever the views have been given, they are not my personal, the views are of the article. Okay, so this is something. Now when we talk about collegium system, it has said that collegium system has not drastically improved the situation, as the government continues to have the final word even till now. So it has been, article is little bit suggesting this particular thing, that in order to improve the condition of the judicial appointments, it has been said that now we need to ensure that even the union law minister is to be recommended. Okay, in a way they are saying that rather than just the collegium system, there needs to be a broad based body which recommends the appointment of the judges, so that only the judges having the highest standards of judicial morality, they come to office. Okay, this is all about it. Now moving on. Okay guys, any question? Sir, there any latest case? Now the article, which case that articles have mentioned, we have provided. So all these are those cases only, not that much latest one. G20, India's platform for global leadership. Okay, now we have seen this particular thing, guys. We have seen this particular thing, that now India is hosting G20's presidency, and as India is hosting the G20 presidency, India delegates from the different countries are coming to India. Now, first of all, India is holding this premier forum of international economic cooperation, and it appears to be a very good opportunity, but at the same time there are certain apprehensions also that are coming. G20, it appears to be descending into deadlock. Why a deadlock is coming? Basically, recently what happened, the foreign minister of Japan, who is chairing the G7, okay, G7, it is a grouping of the 7 most industrialized nations. Okay, so G7 grouping is now being chaired by the Japan, and what has happened, the foreign minister of Japan as well as the South Korea, they have declined to attend the Delhi meet. Okay, why? Because of the Russia and China's participation there. Moreover, Russia and China and the European Union publicly had shown their different positions into the Ukraine war. So, because of this particular thing, it has been provided that in G20 a lot of disputes are now coming. Okay, now this recent G20 finance ministers meet, for the first time ever, the group could not agree to any outcome document. Okay, now we have seen this thing, finance ministers meet is happening, and a common outcome document they cannot agree. Why? Because of rivalry between Russia, China and West on the other hand. Is it clear? Now here, if we see, India is also struck in a very complicated kind of a situation. First of all, guys, in United Nations General Assembly, whenever the resolutions have been floated on Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in most of these resolutions, India has abstained from voting. Why? Because Russia happens to be a very important partner for India. Even this S-400 Triumph system that we are procuring, it is from Russia. So we cannot go against the Russia. This is one particular thing that you need to keep in mind. So in United Nations General Assembly, when the votes have been carried for comprehensive, just and lasting peace, which calls for Russia to withdraw its forces from Ukraine, India has abstained. Now understand this particular thing, that when we are condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it is not just about supporting the US. Okay, now understand this thing, we are not voting here because we are a sovereign nation, we are an independent nation, and we have the full right to take a call on our foreign policy preferences. But this is something that is now impacting India. Now see this particular thing, that if India refused to recognize Russian aggression, okay, fine, if that particular thing happens, then guys, India will be sidelined by the Western country. Okay, so this is actually the issue that right now India is facing. Okay, and on that particular line, there is also one more article that we have seen in the overview. So this is, guys, the entire issue that has come in this particular direction. Now moving to the next article. Scheduled tribe panels requisition FRA action reports from top court. Now this particular article, guys, will see with respect to GS paper number 2 tribal issues. GS paper number 2 tribal issues. Okay, now this issue is a controversy which is going on since the month of September 2022. So September, October, November, December, and now March. Okay, so around 6 or 7 months have happened that this particular matter is going on. Now you need to understand first of all the background of this particular issue, and then we'll be able to understand that what is happening here. Okay, so basically the story of this particular issue starts from 2022. So what happened in 2022? The Forest Conservation Rules 2022 were notified. Forest Conservation Rules of 2022 were notified by the government. Now, basically, these new rules, it provide this particular thing, that if a project has to be started, let's say a developmental project or a project for connectivity infrastructure, if a project has to be taken from the forest regions, okay, and if that particular project has been approved by the FAC, Forest Advisory Committee, then that particular project will be moved to the state authorities, who will pay the compensation and will take the land. Suppose, guys, suppose this is a forest. This is a forest, and a infrastructure project has to pass from the forest. Now, as the infrastructure project will pass through the forest, what will happen? The land has to be acquired. Now, the new forest conservation rules provides that if the Forest Advisory Committee approve that, okay, this particular land parcel will be acquired, then the state government will pay the fund, will pay the compensatory fund to the people whose lands have been taken, and the deal is complete. Now, what is happening? Basically, the National Commission for Scheduled Tribe is having a problem with this. National Commission for Scheduled Tribe has a problem with this. Why? National Commission for Scheduled Tribe provides that as per the provision of the Forest Rights Act 2006, this is another act. As per the Forest Right Act 2006, it is being provided that if tribal people's land is to be taken, then there is a mandatory consent of Gram Sabha. If Gram Sabha will give its approval, only then the land can be taken, otherwise the land cannot be taken. And here you are saying that just if FAC, Forest Advisory Committee, is approved, then the consent of Gram Sabha, fine, which was required it is now not required. It is now not required. So National Commission for Scheduled Tribes says that it is violating the Forest Right Act and it will violate the tribal people's interest in the long run. So they are against that. Now here the Environment Ministry has said that we are framing these particular rules under the Forest Conservation Act 1980. And on the Forest Conservation Act 1980, the National Commission to Scheduled Tribe doesn't have any power. They have the power for the tribal matters. The National Commission for Scheduled Tribe, it is a constitutional body. It is a constitutional body. Fine. And under the Article 338A, and it has power to conserve the interest of the tribal people. But it is not a tribal matter, it is a forest matter. And we are framing these new rules under the Forest Act. And here the NCST's power is diminished. Now NCST says that we are going to Supreme Court. NCST, now they have asked the report from the state governments, and the National Commission to Scheduled Tribes will approach the top court on this particular matter, that whether the Gram Sabha's approval is mandatory or not. So this is something that, guys, has happened in this particular thing. So again, when the final judgment will come by the judiciary, then we'll see that what is the final verdict that is being given. Okay, now moving to next article. Press Council of India warns against publication of paid news by the print media. Okay, so guys, as the 2024 elections are impending, and virtually every year there are some or the other state government that are going for the election. So in the print media, particularly the newspapers, what is happening? There are the paid news. Okay, the viewpoints of a particular leaders are more or more, they are being given importance, they are being given limelight, and sometimes some other leaders viewpoints, they are being distorted. And why that is happening? Because it is a kind of a paid news. A political party has paid to the publishing house. So Press Council of India warns against the publication of the paid news by the print media. They had said that print media should follow the norms of journalistic conduct. That is, they should not show any paid news. They should, and if they are showing some kind of an advertisement, they need to write it that it is a sponsored advertisement by the government. So this is something that has happened. Okay, so this is something. Now, 2 Australian public universities to establish campus in Gift City. So basically, guys, so here we see this particular thing that 2 of the foreign universities will open their campus. Yesterday we have seen this article, but yesterday the name of one university was mentioned, that is the Daikon University. But now Daikon University as well as the University of Wollongong. So Daikon University and the University of Wollongong will open their campus at the Gift City, Gujarat. Okay, so guys, Gujarat Interfinancial City, it is a greenfield project which it is a city which has been created to become the financial hub. Fine. Now here these campuses will be opened up. Now we have seen few days back that the UGC, University Grants Commission, have given a final approval that a foreign universities can come and can open their campus in India. I had made a dedicated video on that also. Okay, so in line with that, now they will be opening up. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Beyond that, guys, nothing important has been given. Just here we have some data that about 70,000 Indian students right now are studying in Australia. In the past 17 years, more than 1.5 million students have studied in Australia, and 1700 lecturers have Indian ancestry in Australia. So India-Australia educational relations are so deep, and now in order to promote those particular relations, what is happening? Now the foreign universities or the Australian universities will open their campuses in India as well. So this is something fine. Now moving to the main practice question for the today. The question reads that addressing specific biases and perceptions can prevent further harm to female education, career choices and job opportunities. Analyze. So this will be a 10-marker question for GS paper number 2. 10-marker question for GS paper number 2, issues related to education. Okay. So that is all, guys, about it. I hope that you have understood it. Okay. Any issue? Hello sir, I have a question. In Karnataka, 17% was given for salary in 7th pay commission. Since this is valid for 2 months, would they have given more, as it would be valid for 2 months? Chirag, you need to track it, because specific state specific issue, that 17% hike they have given for 2 months, will it be increased or not? So you need to I right now I not have any idea about that particular thing, because that is a specific matter of a state issue. Okay, so that is all guys about it, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, if you have liked the video, please do hit the like button, please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.